Well, I'm sure you've noticed that with time and updates, as more and more interesting things get added to the game that have nice little mechanical benefits that we want to use and have, our inventory gets more and more cramped. Well, as you may have noticed, everybody have been suggesting backpacks. Of course, classic option in survival games and what have you. What are my ideas? I got you. Okay. So, I think we could have a variety of different packs throughout the ages, made from different materials, with different, maybe additional benefits as you go on. In the meadows, let's start as simple. The boar pack. Using the boar trophy, finally, giving that a mechanical use. Maybe some leather scrap. All it needs to do is provide a little bit of extra inventory, maybe 3 slots. Nothing simple, nothing too ridiculous, but 3 slots. Maybe a tiny bit of extra weight capacity, right? That makes sense. But something real simple to make use of the mats and get new players exposed to the idea, hey, there's going to be backpacks, and also you're going to have to be aware of inventory management as you get into the glut of the game. Now, further along, we have an idea that I'm more interested in than simple progression via biomes and simple basic mats. That would be quest-given backpacks. So I have one of these ideas just from Hilder, sort of a in-between Black Forest and Swamp level of gear, but something that would help you out just in general, but also from Hilder's quest herself. Now, you gotta do a bit of the quest first. I think this only makes sense. It gives you a little bit more incentive to do the quest, given that you get more mechanical rewards. And the back is going to be very nice. So this is called the Haunted Hauler. You beat Brenna for it. It makes sense. You get some sort of spooky theme thing right after you beat Brenna, this undead flaming skeleton. And Hilder gives you the recipe, which is interesting because usually you get recipes after you get every single material that goes into the gear. However, I like the idea of her giving you the recipe even if you don't have all of the ingredients. And this is what I mean, because it's going to involve a Wraith trophy. So it's going to be, this is the one that I actually have like a dedicated recipe for, but it could change. It's just a suggestion. 3 skeleton trophies, 1 Wraith trophy, 5 bronze, 10 fine wood, 20 bones, something simple like that. A lot of trophies. The Wraith trophy would be the big thing, but I'm picturing it like this like hooded skeleton figure that's holding a big box on your back. And the idea of the Haunted Hauler, primarily in terms of benefits, would be a large amount of added carry weight capacity as opposed to additional inventory. Now, you would get some additional inventory, but it wouldn't be too much considering the advancement along the ages and the biomes since the board pack. But that additional carry weight would be good enough for Hilder's chests. It would be good enough for dragon eggs. It would just be quite a lot, really. So I love that. Next thing, in the Frost Cave, so Mountain Age, sort of in between, because I like to call this one the Jute Root Pack. Nice little rhyme scheme. This one actually has no speed reduction. You know, you would expect some sort of speed reduction. I believe that has, in the backpack mod, there's speed reduction. So no speed reduction on this, just to match the Fenris speed sort of idea and the Askvin going on into the Ashlands. That might be the way. But being Jute and Root, it's going to add a fire weakness to you. So yes, it's going to have a good amount of additional inventory, maybe some carry weight, but it's also going to make you weak to fire. So you got to be ready with potions, you got to be ready with full Fenris set or what have you. Something else now in the plains, I wanted to make use of Locke's pelt, because that's a little bit underutilized right now, considering how much you're probably going to get, especially if you're just absolutely dropping them with needle arrows, huntsman bow, or just at gear. You know, just so good at just decimating groups of locks. And you get all this pelt laying around. You might as well make use of it in a backpack. So this one is the Locks pack. You're going to have a Locks trophy, Locks pelt, maybe some tar, maybe some linen, who knows. And sure, it's going to give you some good extra inventory, good extra weight capacity. But the thing that really I think is interesting about the Locks trophy is that it looks like it's hungry. It wants to eat, it wants to forage, it wants to graze on the plains. Get those cloudberries, get all the plains grass that pops up with red flowers. So I think the really interesting mechanic that I would add to this is food and ingredients moved to the pack inventory actually don't count against the extra inventory and weight slots. It sort of has a hidden compartment. You know, it's like you're stuffing the actual cheeks of the Locks trophy with all this food, and then it just it's sort of happy in a way. It just carries it for you in that sense, and you don't have to worry about it. Maybe just counting against the weight, but I feel like in order to get enough weight for this to be worthwhile, you'd have to have a lot of inventory slots worth of food and ingredients. So, might as well have the extra inventory slots not counted against as well. Let me know what you think about that. The next one is something that I am most excited about, most proud about this idea. That would be the blue jute pack. So this one would involve a couple of Tauren spirits, some blue jute that's underutilized, and one Dvergr lantern. And it would have that sort of Haldor lantern put right on your back. It would provide a nice AoE wisp clearing light around you, but it would also expand the wisp light radius and mist clearing speed with it equipped. Nice little wisp light upgrade. Everybody's liking that. You know, nobody is going around like, oh no, I don't need, I'm not interested in any of that. No, it's one of the most frequently requested changes or additions to the Mistlands is that we have an additional way or additional upgrade to the clearing of the mist. One of the other things that I like about this idea that I have written down is that maybe the glow of the lantern could change color when an enemy is nearby. Maybe the lantern turns sort of pinkish red, like the little homing, exploding spell that one of the lantern mages casts in the Mistlands. I think that would be interesting, also just because extra light in Valheim, if it glows, like I have the Dvergr Lantern Mistwalker equipped right now, even though they're on my back, they're going to provide extra glow. But what that means for sneaking around or just being aggro in general is that you are more likely to be seen. And so, it's the same thing with this blue jute pack. And so we have a little counter to that, you know. It might have the same amount of, you know, move speed reduction. It's going to have added inventory, of course, added weight. But I wanted to give it a little something else. Something else that would help with other tasks going into the Ashlands as well. You know, all these enemies propping up here, there, everywhere, aggroing. It's going to be good when you're trying to get a stronghold set up, building-wise, to have a nice little notifier. Oh, something there. And the radius could be decent, you know. It could be decent on the aggro, it could be really close. Like, oh, you gotta sprint into action now. Get ready. I don't really have too much of a big Ashlands pack idea. The main thing is that I want a pack that could provide some sort of slight elemental resistances. Considering how we're getting more slightly weak, slightly resistant idea and concepts implemented into Valheim gear, I really like having that idea for elemental resistances on a backpack. Considering it's on your back, and Valheim's probably not going to add directional based resistances and armor and whatnot, physical resistances don't make as much sense. But elemental resistances, man, that could work, and that could work well. Maybe something that could stack with other things as well, like Forsaken Powers and whatnot. That would be pretty solid. Or just armor set benefits and whatnot. Let me know what you guys think about all of this, about backpacks, and my ideas, maybe different changes in recipes and whatnot. And I'll see you guys some other time. Bye.